So in India, when you got married, they tied mangalsutra to you. Mangalsutra means it's a sacred thread. If this is properly done, what it meant was, you create this thread in a certain way. If you have forgotten this, every year you're supposed to renew this mangalsutra. You know this? Not being done anymore because it's a thick gold chain. It was supposed to be either raw cotton thread prepared in a certain way or raw silk thread, so that there is a whole science, there is a whole way of manipulating one's energies or using one's energies, which is a tantric way, where a certain nadi, you know what's a nadi? We've talked about this, the 72,000 nadi. Certain nadi from your system is taken and a certain nadi from the betrothed one is taken, and the thread is prepared in a certain way and it's tied to you. Now, the moment you have physical intimacy, is not just the bodies that met, two people's energies become like this. Now you can't break it. If you break it, you will have to severely damage both the people, you have to tear them apart. This is how marriages were conducted. They got them married when they were very young, 8, 9, 11 years of age, they got them married, but they tied them up in such a way, it never occurred to them that they need to look elsewhere. It never occurred to them. This may look horrifying for today's mind, but I want you to know the stability of that gave them such power that they could focus on their lives to do what they want to do, because there's no such thing as emotional insecurity. It is a new thing in India. There is simply no such thing as emotional insecurity because there is such a stable bonding. Not an idea ever occurs in people's mind, could my husband be doing something, could my wife be doing something else? Such a thing never occurs because they've been tied internally in a certain way. But that's become just an empty ritual now. Even now, some of the marriages that I've performed, we've done this to people, and the level of harmony in them is phenomenal. You can see how two people function as one and what a power it is for two people to function just as one being, you know. It's an enormous power.
If you listen to all the mantras chanted in the weddings, they're always talking about this, how these two beings are being welded together, okay?
Because of this, they nurtured this girl and boy in such a way that for 4 to 6 years, they have not seen each other, but they're made to believe when they meet, something is going to happen. In the child's mind, it's grown to such a big possibility. Something does not mean like how today's teenagers are thinking, something means there's only one thing, there's no something, okay? They're not thinking about that one thing alone. It is not just two bodies meeting, not just two minds and emotions meeting, two lives being merged into one. So we created various devices. What is a kite in Hindi?
Patang.
Patang, is it? You have a sutra for that?
Yeah, door.
So if you have the right kind of sutra, the kite will fly. So the Mangal Sutra is that you prepare it in certain way. It's an energy thread and you're supposed to replace it every year. Somebody who knows what it is gives you a live sutra, matches the husband and wife, their energies in such a way, they are not just bound in body, mind and emotion, they're bound as two lives. Any number of events have happened like this in the past, which is becoming more and more rare these days. If a man or a woman dies, within 40 days, the husband or wife will also just die. Have you heard of this?
Yes, yes.
There was a time when the film people were singing Janam Janam, all that. Now they're talking expiry date for relationships. No Janam Janam songs anymore?
No Janam Janam song, no.
Because the idea was to bind two lives. How the bodies match, how the minds match, emotions match is not important. Two lives are entwined. So, there is a kind of bonding. Many of them have never spoken to each other. There is a bonding which is unexplainable. The sense of bond that they felt was so deep because it was a scientific process of binding two lives in such a way that there is no question of compatibility, this, that, it doesn't matter. You marry a devil, still you're bound and you feel an ecstatic sense within you simply because of the union within yourself, not because of what somebody else is doing. So now in a marriage, what somebody else is doing or what your husband or wife is doing doesn't matter, just the way you are is an explosive experience. This is how a lot of women lived in the past, because the process was very scientific and it was done properly.
If the thread was prepared properly, it had certain significance for her well-being, health, and above all, it was a connection between the two people. But then renewing this thread became too cumbersome in recent times, so people started making chains. When they make chains, of course, they made it in gold. Because they made it in gold and your neighbor was having this thick chain, you made it this thick, and your next neighbor made it that thick, and now so slowly it is weighing a kilogram. and now it has become a prestige in the society. How thick is your chain? In Tamil Nadu, evlo pavane? How many sovereigns is your chain? Accordingly, that valuable your marriage is. Slowly it's gone there. So I said in Tamil Nadu, I was speaking in Tamil and I said, see, you wore a mangalsutra, it had a purpose. It would do something to you because every year it was prepared fresh and you wore it. It's almost like renewing your vows for each other, a commitment for each other and a connection for each other. But now you're wearing a chain. A chain is a symbol of slavery that everybody knows in the world. Hello? If I say you're in chains, it doesn't mean you're decorated, it means you're enslaved. I said, this is a symbol of slavery. What's happening here? I was new at that time to Tamil sensitivities. A huge uproar. How can you speak against our gold chain? I said, whether the chain is steel or gold or whatever, it's about the same thing. Only in the marketplace, if you're planning to hawk it, yes, there is a difference. But otherwise, whether I bind you with a gold chain or a steel chain, what is the difference? At least if you use a stainless steel cable, maybe even your husband cannot break it, nobody can steal it. Right now there is a certain crime in India called chain snatching, you know. Lot of people, youth who are on drugs, alcohol, these kinds of things, when they need money, they see these gold chains hanging around these ladies' necks and they're coming in a bicycle or a motorcycle and snatching the chain and going away. At least if you put a steel cable, marriage would be secure and nobody will snatch it. There is a certain sense of… See, if you have to really be with somebody, you have to give up a part of yourself in some way. So the English expression falling in love is very significant. You can only fall into it. You can't stand in it, you can't climb in it, you have to fall into it. Falling means some part of you has to go to accommodate another, which is a good thing for a human being to do, that he doesn't think too much of himself. One who thinks too much of himself cannot be in a love affair. Somewhere you have to surrender a part of yourself to be in a love affair. In that sense, it's a very beautiful thing.